the dream for a lot of people is to go right to sleep, turn their brain off, but it doesn't work that way.
Hi, and welcome back to the second episode, or the next episode, with sleep expert Dr. Shelby Harris. Now, why is it that we are so obsessed with sleep these days and we just don't seem to get it right?
I think it's wonderful that we're thinking more and more about sleep, don't get me wrong. But I think sometimes we're so obsessed with the idea of sleep, we don't always want to put the work in, or we don't always know all the things about sleep that we really should know. So we have misunderstandings, or we think that it's a quick fix. The reality is it's not, and we have to put some of the work in order to optimize our sleep overall.
If I look at myself as a sleeper, I consider myself a good sleeper. I go to bed and I hit the pillow and I'm off to dreaming. That's good, right?
Sounds great, right? But it's wonderful overall, but some people actually think that they should fall asleep immediately when their head hits the pillow. And that's actually not always the case. That shouldn't happen. It should take, for most people, 5 to 15 minutes to fall asleep.
Really?
That's like the dream, pun intended, for a lot of people is to go right to sleep, turn their brain off, but it doesn't work that way. So what really should happen is when you kind of wind your brain down, it should take, like I said, 5 to 15 minutes. If you're someone who falls asleep immediately, or you have to be kind of put in bed because you fall asleep on the couch.
Bit like me, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Sorry, on the couch as well.
For some people, you need to consider, are you getting enough sleep? So if you fall asleep really fast routinely, make sure you're getting enough sleep for you on a routine basis.
And how do you measure whether you have good quality sleep? How do you know? Is that by waking up really refreshed and energized? Is that when you have had a good night's sleep, or?
Yeah, I think that's another myth that a lot of people have too, is that they should wake up after a great night of sleep and right in the morning be able to stretch their arms out. Go, right, exactly. It's like a fairy tale. The reality is you should give yourself a good 30 minutes to 60 minutes to judge how you slept for the night. Because it's not like sleep is an on-off switch. You don't just go to bed, turn your brain off, then all of a sudden you wake up. It takes about a half hour for the neurochemicals in your brain to wash away, to get light exposure and to slowly wake up. So after about 30 to 60 minutes, if you feel good to go, you feel refreshed, overall well rested throughout the day with maybe a dip here and there, you're good. You're getting enough quality, I should say.
Are there any other myths?
There are two of the really big myths that I get oftentimes as well are people think that if they have bad nights, a good amount of time, they've got trouble falling asleep, or they're up a lot in the middle of the night for various reasons, they then try to compensate by going to bed earlier or sleeping in. While that's okay to do once in a while, if you have repeated bad nights of sleep, when you start playing around with your bedtime and wake time to try and catch up, that actually worsens your sleep overall. So we try to have people be more consistent with their sleep. And the one other thing that I see people doing more and more, especially with the pandemic now, is they're trying to wind down before bed, which is wonderful in its intention. So they're actually taking a bath right before bed because it's relaxing. A bubble bath can be so soothing. I mean, I wish I had time to do that routinely. But the problem is that if you do that right before bed, it might quiet your brain down, but you're actually warming your body up, and you can actually make it harder to fall asleep with that.
Oh gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something I would do.
Yeah.
If I couldn't sleep, I would, take a shower or maybe go take a bath.
Right, and it's fine to do that, but don't do it right before bed.
Well, that makes actually a great start. I know a little bit about what not to do, a little bit about what to do, but how do I really, and how do the viewers actually get started on this journey?
I think the most important thing, first and foremost, is recognizing your own patterns of what you do, what you respond to or don't respond to. So a sleep journal is a great way to start. And what a sleep journal is really just having a piece of paper or a journal, if you want, something nice, where you write down what time you go to bed, what time you wake up, how long you think it takes you to fall asleep if you wake up in the middle of the night, and then also maybe looking at what you do during the day. Do you get any exercise? Do you nap? Do you drink caffeine, or what time? And also thinking about any medications that you might be taking, or if there are any sleep medications that you're taking and what days you take them. And then one other thing I usually have people add is any stressors that happen during that day. So was it a more stressful day than usual, or something unusual happen? So that will help you to see some patterns that you notice in your sleep, or things that we can change over time. And I think the one thing to mention to everybody who does start tracking their sleep is that it's not something to become fixated on and obsessed with. It's more about just what you perceive is happening. I don't want you looking at your watch, looking at what time, how long you were up for, or any of that sort of stuff, or even all the devices we have now that track our sleep. It's what you perceive. Do you feel like that night took you a few hours to fall asleep? Or do you feel like that night was just not the best quality? And just track it that way without being fixated on the clock or any devices.
Because in the end, and that's the same with a sleep journal, I think sleep journal is maybe to start you up. You don't have to follow it through weeks or months, maybe?
Nope, it's just really to, at the beginning, see the patterns that you have.
Yeah.
And then once you make some changes, you'll start to see what actually helps you, and then you let go of it. I find that people sleep better when you have habits in line and you're not thinking as much about your sleep.
But that's a real habit, right? You don't have to think about it. It just occurs every day.
Exactly.
Well, I think I learned, again, a lot from you. So I'm going to write a journal. I'm going to go to bed earlier. I have a lot of work to do, I think. What are we going to do in the next episode of this journey?
Tomorrow we're going to talk about setting up a good night's sleep, but really doing it during the day. The night begins with the day, so we're going to outline some of the things you should be doing during the day to help you sleep better at night.
And that's like the quality of your day is a reflection of the quality of your night, basically, right?
For sure.
Lovely. Well, I look forward. Thank you again.
Anytime.